enjoying the sessions today that have been going on. Signal's team has brought some fantastic speakers together. I am going to be speaking about a topic that's probably on everyone's mind: the role of AI in sales. Now, this is a topic that I am quite fascinated by. I'm quite interested in. I've spoken about this topic earlier. Hopefully, you will have some good insights, some useful insights to carry away at the end of my conversation today. Very quickly, my name is Amarpreet Kalkat. I'm the founder of Humantic AI. We are a buyer intelligence platform for sales teams. We are 2023's #2 most adopted sales AI. So hopefully, I know a thing or two about sales AI. We've been seeing a lot of activity in the market, and I have personally spoken to 100+ senior revenue leaders, I would say, in the last 1 year. Now, AI in sales, like I said, it's a fascinating topic. Let's start running through the lay of the land. What is going on out there today? Let's start over there. So the number one thing I would say, that's the number one trend that is at play today, is change. The only constant, as we all know. So selling is changing pretty drastically. Now, this is not the first time. Everything changes all the time. Selling has been changing for years. But what happens is there are waves. The pendulum keeps swinging fast and slow. Right now, we're at a point where it's not changing gradually. It's changing suddenly. We're feeling some of it. Now, some people, they're more observant, they more clued into, they feel it strongly. Some people, I would say vast majority of the people, don't feel things as they're happening, big trends at play. We feel them in hindsight. Oh, wow, looking back, that was crazy what happened. So, but right now, it's not gradual change. It is the time of sudden change when it comes to selling. Now, why is that happening? There are 2-3 trends that have come together. And generally, it's a combination of culmination of a few things coming together that leads to large changes happening quickly. AI is, for example, changing quickly, and selling is changing quickly too. It's not only AI that's changing selling. Let's be clear. I would say that the trigger for that was probably, I would say, COVID-19. Now, before COVID-19 too, there was a big trend at play. I would call automation that trend. So if you look back at sales, a lot of automation, in fact, most of the tools that have become dominant, that have become commonplace in the last 10 odd years, are related to automation. For example, sales engagement platforms, I think, is pretty classic example. Before that, it was not necessarily so. Like when CRM came in, it wasn't really about automation. So automation has been at play. We can do so much more just by automating things. Then COVID-19 happened, and selling just went digital. Because you have no option but to sit at home and sell. Some people were selling from the office already. So not a huge change, although selling from the office versus home is still two different things. But the big change has been those people who've been selling in the field, or those who have had a hybrid approach, which is a lot of sellers. So, and then you combine that with what's happened in the last roughly 1 year, starting around same period, November 2022, that's when some significant generative AI announcements were made by OpenAI. And post that, it's just been one thing after another. So there we are. There is a massive change at play because a number of trends have come together. And that, what is that doing for the seller? Is it helping them? Are they adapting to that trend, that change? It's not easy. It's never easy, especially when the change is sudden. The seller today, by and large, I think I've spoken to one CRO out of 100 last year who said we are on target. Now, 2023 was a harsh year, has been a harsh year. Absolutely. 2022 too, part of it. But it's not just that, it's not just the market being down, but the trends that I spoke about. Now, three main things that I see here, why that's happening. One, most technology leaders, revenue leaders, or revenue ops leaders even, they don't understand AI. See, they're not technologists, they're sellers. They're sellers. They know how to sell. They've sold for many years, even RevOps. A lot of people into RevOps come, from selling side, who probably have more fascination with operational aspects or technology aspects. So, but they still understand what I've seen, mostly data and activities. Like data is, hey, let's get the phone numbers from ZoomInfo. Activities, let's send out 100 emails, make 500 calls. They understand that that's the language. AI is different. It's not the same thing. It's not about just doing more. So that's a big concept that is impacting sellers because of how their leaders understand AI. Number two, and this has been written about, by some experts here and there. Ask any leader or ask yourself, whether you're a seller, whether you're a sales leader listening to this today, what all steps have you taken in the last 2, 3, 4 years that have been focused on improving not seller skills, but buyer's experience? Buyer's experience. Have you, the way you work towards, let's make our sellers better, let's give them more tools, let's give them more training. Do we think about the buyer? No, we haven't. It's just not been happening. So the buyer experience is very frustrating. All of us, like ask anyone, do you open a cold email? No. Do you pick up a cold call? No. Then how do you expect your sellers, or if you're a seller, how do you expect to be getting the results? You've not bothered about the buyer for a long time, and now we're paying the price. And the final thing, I was speaking to someone at Gartner, and they said, give a CRO $1 million, and odds are they will go and hire 3 salespeople rather than investing in technology. So there's always this fascination about, just doing more of the same, just having more people, making more calls, sending more emails, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what the seller's working with. It's not enough. It's far from enough for the world that its sales is becoming today, which we are mostly struggling to understand. Like some people do, because they tend to be very forward looking, or they just have that ability to see where the puck's going. Most of us can't see, the puck before it goes there, before it goes and hits that corner. So the analogy for this, I find it quite interesting, is with Dust Bowl. Those of you who know Dust Bowl from Midwest 1940s, so 1930s, as farm equipment started coming in, for the first 15, 20 years, the productivity just went up because you could do so much more. You were not dependent on people anymore. But 20 years later, the whole topsoil layer had eroded. And that's where the dust part comes from, because there was nothing you could do. We just, some degree tragedy of the commons, we just simply destroyed our, golden hen, so to speak. And that's what we're doing with the buyers today. So it's a big change that we are not really able to adapt to very well. And most of the people are struggling. Most teams, organizations, leaders, sellers are struggling today. Which brings us to the topic, for today. So is AI the answer? Is AI going to take care of all the problems? Is AI going to be cure-all? Well, let's find out. That's what I'm here for. That's what I am covering today. So to understand if AI is really the answer or not, first we need to understand AI better. What is AI? Is it an opportunity? Or is it a calamity? Or something else? So let's take a look at that. What does technology do in general? AI is not the first technology. We've seen internet. Before that, there were computers. Before that, there were other non-computer related technologies that have, come in. So technology coming in has been happening for at least 500 years actively. So what does technology do? I'm just going to look back at the last maybe 50 odd years, not 500 years. So technology it's a no-brainer. It's technology gives leverage like nothing else. Take a look at some of this data. It used to take 8 people to do $1 million in revenue in 1990, 35 years ago. When internet came in, it drastically, in like 20 years, that 8 people that used to, that it used to take for $1 million in revenue became 2.5 people. But since then, the last 12, 13 years, the progress hasn't been much. It's just been, 2.5 people becoming maybe 2 people. Right? And now we have this AI. So that's what AI can do. But on the other side, technology also decimates companies. Only 52 companies have been steady on the Fortune 500 list since 1955. That's not a lot of time. That's just 70 plus, years. 90% of the companies are gone. And it's hard for people to imagine, what will happen tomorrow. Like the biggest companies of today, and as the cycles speed up, they could be gone like this. I have worked at Nokia, and I saw Nokia going down. Like I've spent around 2 years over there. So it happens very, very quickly. And so both sides, both things are happening. Like take Gen AI, people talk about, it is showing clearly all the data that the productivity boost that it's bringing in is immense or can be immense, but it's got its challenges, which we'll talk about. So that's what technology tends to do in general. So AI, is it an opportunity? Is it a calamity? Well, it is both. It is both, right? We all know it. It is both. It is what I call a step change. Now, again, some people understand this, some people don't realize this. It is a big change. It's probably the biggest change that's happened for a long time. Yeah, maybe since steam engine or something like that. I believe it's bigger than the internet. Now, it's a little hard for people to grasp that. I've heard, no, that internet was too big. It is a different beast altogether. Just the level of impact that AI can have, the multiplier effect is very significant. And we'll take some examples a little bit later, just to give you an idea of what I mean to say here. So now, first we will evaluate the opportunity part of sales, quickly, of AI in sales. The data shows very clearly, sales is the number one function that is adopting AI. So those of us who sell AI software, those of us who use AI software, prep up, wake up, get ready. AI is here. And it will get adopted fast in sales. 68% of the organizations, it's number one. It's double of the logistics or training. Marketing is a close second. So it is the fastest growing spend category. And for those of you who are not on the leadership side here, but you're sellers, the most important thing I think you should focus on is right here. A lot of the people I meet, they won't accept that they're resistant to adopting AI, but they are. Because generally, as humans, we are resistant to adopting change, and AI is big, big, big change. But those who adopt AI, it says here, 4.5x more likely. Now, this is high performers being more likely, but I can tell you that there is inverse correlation too, where those who adopt AI, their odds of becoming high performers, we have seen that with our data. Like we've measured with our customers how those who have adopted, say, Humantic AI, their journey and this trend of them moving up in the rankings within their org, it is visible. So think of AI again, simply put, again, this is for the sellers, here. It's very simple. Think of AI as it's a superhero set of powers. Now, how you use it will ultimately define how well you use it. So it's on you, really. But if you don't use them, there's no way that you'll be able to measure up against people who are putting it to use. So you have to open up your mind. Some of it is easy to adopt. Some of it is hard to adopt. I think ease things is a very, very important axis. Like on G2 Humantic, we score number 2 in ease of use, as it says. And I think that's been part of the reason why 2023, in spite of everything, has been a great year for us. So ease is very important. This is for the builders too, who are here. Extremely important as the value of the AI itself. But keeping an open mind is probably the most important thing. The other side of AI in sales, we all hear about that. I'm sure we are all concerned, or most of us are concerned about that. The calamity part. I think the biggest argument is around jobs. And now I build AI, and I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to say it will not take away jobs. It will take away jobs. It's bound to happen. It's always been like that. But 2 things. Let me take you through those 2 things one by one. First of all, adopting AI does not take away jobs. This is from a Salesforce report. I'll be sharing this presentation so you can go through these links, etc. later. Companies that adopt AI tend to hire more salespeople. Can you believe that, right? It's counterintuitive. Companies that adopt AI tend to hire more salespeople. They just become more successful. Now, jobs will be replaced, jobs will be changed, but jobs will not go away. Some people lose jobs, many more gain jobs. People lose low-value jobs, gain high-value jobs. Overall, that's how technology adoption has always played out. Again, like I would say, for last 500 years. We have much better quality of life compared to our grandfather or our great grandfather, like 200 years ago, because technology improves our quality of life. So don't be scared of losing a job. I think everyone says it, you'll not be replaced by AI, but by someone who's leveraging AI. So I think that's a good way to take it away. Good takeaway. So yeah, so companies, if you're wondering, people, impact, etc. Now, those who adopt AI actually hire more because generally they tend to do better. And it's those who don't adopt that are at risk of perishing as companies and therefore killing the jobs for their employees. So that's one part, like I said, about the role of AI. Now, the second important factor is that a vast majority of the jobs, there's a Goldman Sachs report, I think I don't have it here, but that says 62% of the jobs will evolve, only 7% will be replaced. Now, I don't know if that is true, and I don't think Goldman knows whether it's true too, but I think it makes the point pretty clear that evolution, like take sales, the SDR function is evolving fast. Why is it evolving fast? Because that's where most of the challenge for most leaders is, top of the funnel. It's a bloodbath, absolute bloodbath, mayhem. So people have no option but to take action. And when they take action, it impacts jobs. So, but does it mean SDRs are going to go away? Well, that brings us to our next point. So I tend to break AI, from on the axis of related to jobs into replacive and assistive AI. So replacive AI is that replaces people. Assistive AI is that assists people. Now, we have a very firm belief, Humantic AI has a very firm belief in being an assistive kind of AI. We believe that is the future. But like I said, it's not everything is not, shiny and great. There is replacive AI, and that is going to play a role. My take would be that replacive AI will make a bigger mark, faster mark on transactional selling. So think about yourself. Are you involved with transactional selling? What is transactional selling? Small deal selling. People don't really matter. Anyone could be selling anything to anyone. Generally, these are smaller deals. That's a good way of identifying transactional selling. Compared to strategic selling, where assistive AI will probably play a larger role. the human element will still be stronger. And it's not just human element, but AI in general. Assistive AI will play a larger role when it comes to strategic selling. Replacive AI quite possibly could play a larger role, or at least will play a more significant role when it comes to transactional selling. So see where you are as a seller. Either you move, if you're on the transactional side, you move towards strategic, that's what you want to be doing, or you really, really need to be adopting AI so that you're elevating yourself to the next level and not get replaced, because your odds of getting replaced are higher if you are on the transactional side. Big question. Maybe this is the most important slide that I have here today, or most actionable, at least, if not most important from a thought perspective, I think from an actionability perspective. Where do you start your AI journey? How do you think about it? What is important, what's not? It's wild, wild west out there today. Absolutely. Like I said, everyone I speak to, and I'm talking hundreds of leaders, sellers, it's a lot of people. They don't know. There's just so much. Everything is AI. In fact, the joke I have is that if a company's description reads AI, it's probably not AI. Everyone is calling themselves AI today. Yeah. So it's very confusing for people. What do I adopt first? This is AI, that's AI, this is happening, that's happening. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Let's simplify it. As always, start with the outcomes. Work backwards. What do you want? What does your organization need? And I've broken this down into 3 parts here. Now, they ultimately, when it's sales and revenue, it all comes down to, more revenue. That's what it, comes down to, faster revenue. That's what we're talking about, fundamentally more revenue. But efficiency, effectiveness, and examination. Now, what do I mean by these 3? Let me just call it out. Assistant AI, these are your co-pilots that are beginning to show up on the scene. Microsoft Copilot, Salesforce Copilot, Gong Squad, I don't think they call it Copilot, but it's kind of like a Copilot. Zoom's launched a lot of functionality for sellers. So that's your assistant. I'm not calling it assistive, because assistive AI, even what's under humanization or predictive, could be assistive. So it's assistants, essentially co-pilots, I was going to call it. Their general outcome and impact is efficiency. Like, read Microsoft's Copilot announcement. It says 85% of the people reported being able to do one more action. You see, you'll do more actions, you'll be more efficient. They're not talking about effectiveness. Now, the second, this is probably the most unknown group that you'll see. But again, this is something that we do. But the reason it is here is not because we do this. I do this because I fundamentally believe this is one of the most important pieces. If we don't get it right, we'll screw up the AI rollouts, just as we've screwed up the whole automation journey. I spoke about it earlier, right? We've absolutely, absolutely murdered the buyer's experience. Absolutely. It's bad, right? You don't want to go near your phone when it's a stranger's call. You're scared to open up your email. You're scared to go to your LinkedIn DMs. It's just crazy, right? The amount of spam that is everywhere. Do we want to do that? No. Because AI's biggest characteristic is that it is robotic. It's mechanical. If we just adopt AI the way we adopted automation, we're just going to go from automated, spam, the automated ability to spam, to automated ability to spam and first create that spam, if you look at Gen AI. So we don't want that. So that I would call it as a separate bucket. That's something we obsess about. We talk about a lot. We have a few competitors. I've listed them out here. You should know them. They're good companies trying to do good work. I don't think too many people think about us like humanization of selling as the outcome. Yeah, so a lot of it's about personality AI, or again, results and whatnot. But that's how I believe, from an AI perspective. And the third bucket is predictive AI, and especially I think that part would help everyone who's listening to this. Predictive AI is generally, and again, AI is generally predictive by nature, but I'm talking about, for example, deal forecasting. Yeah, pipeline forecasting, A lot of this is around to do with examination, or even what Gong, etc., have been doing conversational AI. Let's examine a call. Let's give feedback to the rep. Let's tell them what they did right, what did they wrong. It is all examination. Now, everything in selling, of course, ultimately starts tying into, is it moving the revenue needle or not? But it is about how directly or indirectly it is. So if you use just this framework, you will be able to almost place every AI that you encounter into one of these three buckets. They're either assistants. Yeah. So for example, a lot of Gen AI, and Gen AI, why haven't I called it Gen AI? Because Gen AI is across all these three groups. Yeah. So when, for example, Microsoft, you can get those, call summaries, call action items, all of that is coming. Some people have sales specific models, some have more generic models, but Gong, etc., have had that, but now suddenly Zoom's doing that and Microsoft's doing that, Salesforce, it's just crazy. So assistants, because hey, I can quickly just scan my notes or get the highlights of a meeting. That's assistant AI. Normally it'll be used by sellers. Humanization AI is where every interaction that we have, the email that we send, the call that we make, the meeting that we go to. So we basically make it about the person on the other side. We don't just care about the company and their need, and I've seen that mindset to some degree. All that matters is someone's need. People don't matter. That's very weird. It doesn't matter on transactional selling. If you say that, you're probably a transactional seller. On the strategic selling, no one has ever, or at least in the near future, will ever buy from someone they don't like and trust. That's how it is. And this is what helps you. And that's the reason I spoke about, how good 2023 has been for us from the option perspective, because all the trends, we're not meeting people, we are staying away from them. That's the reason why people see that I have to adopt it. If I'm gonna use more AI, I have to balance out the fact that it is robotic. Try using Gen AI by itself. You'll see the difference, right? Everyone can already recognize Gen AI written emails. It's as simple as that. So predictive AI is more for leaders because it's about examination. What's happening in this deal? What is this rep doing right? Where is my prediction forecast for this quarter? So these are the three broad groups that you're looking at. Depending upon what you want more efficiency, you already do well. You want more efficiency, assistant AI should be prioritized. You're not doing well, you're struggling meeting numbers, quotas, etc. Effectiveness should be your number one. Examination, I would tie that into effectiveness to some degree, but you don't have enough visibility as a leader. You don't know what's going on. Now, being able to forecast doesn't mean really that you can change the results, right? But you have visibility, and then therefore maybe you take more action. So it's an indirect way of getting results. Yeah. So it is more, for examination, although ultimately it'll all tie into revenue. So that's what is your big need. So think of it as pieces of a puzzle that you're trying to bring together. See what pieces you already have in place, and then accordingly see, therefore, what piece should come next. So I would say that's important. A few things to keep in mind while I try to wrap this up. Really important, very basic things, but they really matter. I've seen it. Leadership's not aligned, your AI rollouts will struggle. Yeah. AI leaves it just to, like, I call it letting tools, technology and reps battle it out. No. AI still needs a guiding hand from leadership. First line managers are critical. You have great first line managers who show people in the trenches what to do, how to do. AI adoption goes very well. You don't involve first line managers, you struggle. Users, I think it's more about education, because of 80% of the people will start from a point of resistance. It's just natural as humans. Only 20% will come and show an open mind. So education is important. And last, it's not a small journey. You want quick results, it's gonna be hard. It's a step change, like I said earlier. It will not play out that quickly. So often when, for example, when we speaking to customers, we tell them, hey, you'll get to 70% point quickly. So you'll see something, but don't expect that to be the best that will come. Like if you're running a 1-month pilot, don't look for the world to change. And I'm not just setting your expectations low. I'm just telling you how to really think about this thing, because it will get better. There's no precedent to AI. There's a big learning curve. They're not trainers at your organization outside. There's not enough material. So if something performs, let us say generally you say, hey, we'll adopt a technology that scores 8 on 10. Then with AI, you should adopt something that's maybe 7 on 10, not 6 on 10, but at least 7, because it will go to 8 or 8.5 or 9. So that is very likely to happen. The impact of this now can be groundbreaking, massive. I said at the beginning that this is bigger than probably internet. And these are some real examples. You can click through these links later on. SAP did an AI rollout, one tool, and they attributed $1 billion with a B dollars to that tool rollout. Honeywell did it was Aviso. I think they've named the product, Aviso. They attributed $150 million in revenue. These things were not possible with traditional tools. How much is your sales force bringing in $1 billion in additional revenue? And we've seen firsthand at Humantic AI that your pipeline being impacted by 100 to 200%, not 10, 20, 30, 40, but 100 to 200. I think the best I've seen, and more than once, is 230, 250%. And revenue impact by more than 10 to 30. In fact, I think our average revenue impact comes to 16.2%. And we've seen some of those firsthand where it almost feels too good to be true, almost, but it is not. So that's how massive AI can be. It just needs a mindset change for sellers and for leaders. Operationally, how should you think about it? This is my suggestion. This is my recommendation. Separate out the AI budgets. Otherwise, you'll always end up gravitating towards solving hygiene problems, which seem like they should be solved first, but they actually don't move the needle that much. So there's this research in this book by Dr. Howard Dover called the Sales Innovation Paradox that shows you the impact of different technologies if you read that book. And the impact of some of the hygiene technologies is very minimal. It's 10x lesser, but people still say, I need to fix my CRM first. Okay. Second, expertise. A vast majority of people don't know how to leverage AI. Even like I said, revenue ops, most people are from selling or CS background. I would say people who from a tech product engineering background probably should do better. Or if you've actually done that AI implementation, etc., once, twice, thrice. So, but there's a big expertise gap in terms of how well you can evaluate, and then confusion comes, and then you fall back on doing the usual. Third, ROI. Always keep your eye on ROI. 2023 has done a great job, made us very ROI focused, which is great. Yeah, but otherwise it was, we would not always bother about results. So that's great. But keep in mind what I just said, that when something is new, it takes a little bit longer than the usual kind of things. And the final part is again similar, so about focus. If you mix everything up, you will end up doing the usual things. Like if I, come to computer one morning and I say, hey, let's just do things, I just end up going through emails, responding to Team Slack and whatnot, and 2 hours are gone. Yeah, because it's just hygiene. You're like, let me get this done, through the door. Let me get this, let me be over with this, get done with this. But you have to say, okay, I'm going to spend 1 hour purely on, giving a talk, out here. So focus is important. Finally, is AI enough? Just if we have AI, is it going to solve all the problems? Unfortunately, no. I think we all know it. But I think it's a big part of the story. If the base is there. So let me repeat it. If the base is there, AI adoption, probably you'll adopt 3-4 AI tools. And if you do it well, like I said, you look at what your strengths and weaknesses are, where you're doing well, where not, and like the pieces of the puzzle mindset, you will have significant impact. What if the base is not there, which is true for most companies? That's where it becomes interesting. That's where it becomes interesting, because then Too many people gravitate towards, you know what? We got to get the base right. We got to get our CRM right. We got to get our engagement tool right. No, no one, no one has ever won a battle by doing the usual. Look at all the battles, look at the history. No one. You have to do something that is different. So I call it a jab and a hook. You got to, of course, fix hygiene, but don't just get busy. You know, I talked to a company once. They were getting their Salesforce right for 2 years. They were adopting, evaluating zero other technologies. It's crazy. So make it, 1-2, make it a 1-2 punch. Don't just get stuck there. I know it's harder than just doing one thing, but then most of the good things in life are hard. I see the mindset. We're not adopting new tools. We're cutting down on budgets. Don't be simplistic. Don't just do one thing. The best results come from nuanced approaches, not simplistic approaches. That's just simpler and easier to work with. You're cutting budget, that's great, but do it in a nuanced manner. Cut down tools that are not being useful and adopt tools that you think can be useful. You see, it's not easy because now you have to really understand what's good, what's not, but that is the way it should be done. So that's something. So jab and the hook, you've got to do 1-2 if you don't have the base. If you have the base, then it's a no-brainer. That's where I will leave it today. That's what you can carry away. That's where AI in sales is headed. And that's the fascinating, not necessarily all good. There's a lot that's going on, but a fairly fascinating future of AI in sales. Thank you.